We're here. We're live for week 65 of Visibility University. How are you today, Julie?
Good. I'm glad you just ignored the entire script.
Well, because it's on a different screen, so there we go. Your view count is about to lie to you.
That's a hell of a way to start Saturday morning.
I mean it. This week, your views are going to look better than ever, and that number is going to mean less than ever.
So let's find out what's going on. Welcome, everybody. Mike already did this. I don't know what to do with my script now because it's all messed up. I'm Julie.
I'm Mike, and today we're breaking down YouTube change everybody's been messaging us about.
Views, watch hours, and why those two words are about to stop meaning the same thing. So last week we talked about the partner program, and there was changes coming in 2027. This week it's something that hits right now as of Monday, August the 24th.
Right. YouTube is changing what counts as a public view. Starting the 24th, a view gets counted the moment a video starts playing. From the very first frame, long form, shorts, live streams, all of it.
So essentially what's going to happen is everyone's views are going to go up.
Probably, you may start seeing your numbers climb faster starting Monday. But here's the catch, and this is the part people are going to miss.
A view and a qualified watch hour are not the same thing.
Exactly. YouTube kept a completely separate measurement for monetization and YPP, or YouTube Partner Program eligibility. They're calling it qualified watch hours.
It's a new name, but not really a new metric. And it's what they used to call the public watch hours.
Valid public watch hours, yes. I'm always still confused about that, but right. So if you've been paying attention to that number already, you're ahead of the curve.
So let's make it simple. What counts towards a watch hour?
Watch time on your public long form content. That's the core of it. And your public live streams count too, as long as they're retained as public videos on your channel afterwards.
So what doesn't count?
4 things. Shorts feed watch time, that doesn't convert into qualified long form hours. Private or unlisted or deleted content doesn't count. Ad campaign watch time doesn't count. And live streams that you don't retain as public video on demand, those don't count either.
So the trap is Monday morning, you open your dashboard, your views are up, and you want to say,
my views went up, so my watch hours must be up too.
But that's not how it's going to work.
We've got 2 different numbers answering 2 different questions. Views tell you how many times your content started playing. Qualified watch hours tell you how much of your eligible public content people actually sat and watched towards the YouTube Partner Program hours.
And if you're a creator that's working towards a partner program, the second number, the qualified watch hours, that's the one you actually want to be watching.
Views are the applause. Watch hours are the receipt.
Exactly. Applause versus the receipt. So if I'm going to drop it in the chat because this is our open call to ask us anything. And we're going to go right into the questions. So if you have any questions on visibility and anything like that, drop the message in the chat and we will highlight that. And I want to say a shout out to Sabrina. thank you for joining us this morning. But yes, it is definitely, I think the whole thing is to make people, this is definitely an ego statistic, the watch hours. It's definitely giving you the woo, or not the watch hours, I mean the views, right? Woo, I got so many views, but they're not real views, right? Because what's going to happen is normally to qualify as a watch hour, they had to stay on your video for a certain length of time. Now, as soon as they see your video, it's going to count as a view. So everyone on Monday, if you have a YouTube channel and you're posting, you're probably going to be seeing more views, but watch time is probably going to be stagnant. And then, so it's interesting because I was actually wondering how the average view would be. I'm wondering if they're still going to do it with the qualified view and the average, right? So if you get, let's just keep it easy. Let's say only had 100 views, but you got let's say 100 hours. So 100 people watched an hour each, right? And that was qualified. So you got 100 hours on a video. But let's say your views actually said that there was 400 views. I'm hoping they're still going to be doing the numbers where it's just based on the 100 qualified views. So what your average time would be an hour per view versus divided by 400 views. So your average would be 15 minutes, right?
I just find the whole thing comical. It's like when I was reading that email we got this week I got it. I don't know if you ever did get it from vidIQ. And he's like trying to overcomplicate live streams. And I'm like, I don't even understand what this makes more. So what we just went over makes more sense versus what like he was going on based on like, they're only going to it was archived live stream. I'm like, well, what's an archived live stream? One that you just don't delete or mark? Like, I don't even understand that terminology. And
Well, that was why I did research to confirm, and I confirmed the wording to go in and find out that no, like nothing's changing when you're live streaming. The only thing that changes, like if it's not a public video, you're not going to get watch time from it. That is essentially it. So if you want to get watch time on a video, it has to be public. Doesn't matter, and it has to be a longer video. Shorts do not give you watch time. Shorts are when you're going to go into what we talked about last week. If you want to qualify with shorts, you've got to get views, and it's gonna. The qualified views is probably still going to be different because 20 million people just swiping through is probably not going to count towards your 20 million views in February.
I don't know. It was well, you know what? It will be. So we've got the marker of what did you say? August 24th for how views is gonna be counted differently, and then February 1st is where you're gonna have to then jump to the 8,000 qualified public watch hours in order to hit monetization. So if you're on your path and as we brought up last week, things are changing. If you're currently on the path towards getting your subscribers up to 1,000 or your qualified watch hour up to 4,000, you have time to focus on your craft of building your content weekly, probably more a couple times a week versus just weekly, and start building that channel and really focusing on it, because we're kind of, it's not September yet, it's still August, and we can help you we can help you get there. But it's really time to focus on it. And it's funny because I was at this conference yesterday here in Austin, Texas, and only one person is talking about YouTube, and it's YouTube ads. And I was like, why are not more people they were talking about visibility. It was kind of driving me crazy because I'm sitting back row, and people are like, oh, LinkedIn and Instagram and all this stuff. I'm like, but they kept using the word visibility. And I'm like, all platforms, super simple to do it. If you have somebody teaching you how to make a piece of content and automatically distribute it everywhere, we're teaching the same stuff as all these in a better packaging than these people up on stage yesterday that I was listening to. And it's like, this is interesting that everybody's talking about visibility, and now it's a time to get visible, especially if you've backed off in 2025. It's time to do it now because people want to rebuild that trust. We've been, people haven't been trusting people online, and now they're like going back to that as like, get your message out.
Well, we've got Sabrina made a comment. She's going to go check if her vids are public and see if she has them as public. So she's actually getting counted for
Cool.
her hours.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing because we've brought that up a couple times where I've noticed maybe when people are playing with their channels or maybe not confident with their videos, there's a ton of people who've uploaded private videos, and it's like, and they may not even realize they were marked as private or unlisted or whatever, and is now the time to house, it's still summer, but we're going into fall. It's, go and clean up that account and make sure that everything you want people to discover is public, and thumbnails, titles, descriptions are up to date. And
when you follow a script, you follow it from the beginning, so I don't have to trim out a whole bunch.
That's what happens with scripts sometimes. Come on, you just have to roll with it. And
it's too early in the morning for me to roll with it. My whole plan was that it would immediately start with a catcher, because we've been working on this for a long time, and I'm going to talk about one thing that I'm really working on with our videos is making that the first sentence captures people. So when we leave this as a video on demand, we are not starting with just hi. Like, people don't stay through it. So I'm actively working on getting a better, grasp right off the bat of the beginning of the video. That means that you have to follow the script to get the thing.
Send it more than 2 minutes before.
Oh, well, you know what? That was more than enough time.
So,
I'm just saying. But but in fairness, that is a perfect example of us constantly attempting to improve, which can be very struggling, improving your content and fixing things, or not even fixing, but just making it more streamlined and more catchy so you can get more watch hours, right? And so these are things that we're working on as well. And we've gone through it. We've got ourselves monetized. So if you're following anybody to be visible, ideally you want to follow somebody who's gotten to the point to at least get monetized. So if they're promising you all these things, especially if it's the ego metrics, right? Like if we go back to this, like if it's very ego based, there's going to be so many people selling you like, oh, you'll get 12 million views, especially if we now are going to be going by like as soon as somebody even like immediately sees your video and didn't even play a second, right? So those are ego metrics that don't actually mean anything. It might make you feel good. Oh, look, I got 1,000 views, but qualified views were maybe only 200, right? That actually stayed for the amount of seconds that count as a view, right? So I guess we're in this point where it's like, who do you want to learn from? Do you want to learn from somebody who's going to promote and prompt up ego statistics that don't really move the mark and aren't going to necessarily help you with your business, your message, your purpose? Or do you want to build something? So again, like you said, like we're rebuilding trust. How do we build trust in a trustless society? And knowing that your customers, viewers, people you're wanting to communicate may not be the local people around you, right? That may not be your target market for what you're offering, especially if you're North America. North America is huge. And where you are, you could be off in some little town somewhere, and your viewers might be everywhere across the world, right? So it's about getting seen. And I'm going to say thank you so much, Sabrina. She subbed, and that is a great reminder to reach out to everybody. If you are watching, do subscribe. Take a moment so you'll be up to date every time we go live, and we do go live 4 times a week, talking about visibility, technology, and what's going on. So thank you so much, Sabrina, for subscribing.
and I wonder, sorry, I was
No,
just
go
going
ahead.
to say, this has come up a couple times, and I was reminded about this yesterday because I got a couple emails about it. If you're having a YouTube channel and people are emailing you telling you that they can help you fix your channel, The number one thing you should be at, I had somebody email, I had a couple people email me yesterday. I'm assuming my email address is listed everywhere, especially it's listed as public on YouTube. And if your email address is listed public on your YouTube channel, people may email you to say, "Hey, I could help you with your account." Or they'll be like, "Oh, yours is not optimized." They'll just be saying, "Hey, there's things on with your account that I can help you with." Um, I've had a bunch of our students, or a bunch of people we even just know that have YouTube, saying, "Well, how do you stop this? I don't want people emailing me about my channel. I want them to go to my website and book my services." And it's like, well, the reason that they're emailing you is because your email address is public. If you don't want their advice, especially you don't want to hire them, especially because they may not be monetized YouTube coaches. Turn off your email address so people don't see it, and then have them, have your website listed or whatever, so that they book an appointment with you in order to try to sell you any services. I got in a fun email exchange with one of these people yesterday. It's like, well, please provide examples of your own YouTube channels you've monetized. Oh, I don't have to provide you samples because I do this.
Oh my God, really? That's
It
what they
literally
say
went back
to
and
you?
forth. It went back and forth all day. And I
Oh
told
my
them,
God, like really? They told you they didn't need to provide you evidence of what they were accomplishing.
Exactly, because he helps other people, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if you don't hire a coach who hasn't done it for themselves before, because everybody can be a really good salesperson or just know what words may trigger you into having a fear of missing out. But
Yes,
if
and
you
so you get the
can't,
FOMO and you purchase on FOMO, which is
guess what?
seriously makes me annoyed.
I will send you screenshots of my watch time, um, of my payouts from YouTube, not to brag, just to show you that, hey, I'm not perfect, but I have achieved the subs and the watch time required, and what the back end of my channel looks like. I'll show there's dollar signs next to all my videos and how much those videos have earned. I will send you that proof. But I'm also not really cold emailing people to say, "Hey, you suck. Here's what I can do for you." I research, I meet people in person. I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing with it? This asset could work better for you. What are your thoughts? What like what's going on with the channel?" I don't cold email anybody about their stuff, because that's just, it's just, but it's gonna happen to you, because I know we've got friends all over the place who are like, "Hey, why am I getting these weird emails?" I'm like, "It's because your email address is public. Turn that off, and just have them go through your website and book a call or whatever." Because you know what, the scammers coming through email likely never gonna book that Zoom call with you because they don't want to show up on camera.
Well, I just think it's interesting when you're having that they somehow don't think they need to provide evidence.
Because
And that is what
you've received them too, right?
I have, and I've
Yeah.
complained about them as well, but then I was like, I'll just ignore them and I just spam them and delete them because I still wanted to keep my contact up, right? So we had that conversation a while back when that was really annoying, and I felt it insulting that all these people that I'd like, it didn't matter. That would be the only response I was getting, right? So whether it was Rumble, because Rumble, I had a growth of like 4 subs, and every single one of them was one of these people telling me they could improve my channel. And maybe they can, maybe they can't, but when you're reaching out cold and you haven't given me evidence, what they've provided was an AI video of what's wrong with my channel, not providing me evidence of what's right and how they fix channels. So I'm like, okay, you can point out things that I can improve on. Fantastic. I can improve on them. But what can you do? What skills have you done? How have you improved channels? Where is this? And I think that's also where we've gotten stuck, because anybody that promotes like Fivers and hiring people in a third world country that aren't necessarily qualified, so they're like, "Oh, I've got this VA or whatever and I pay them $500 a month for whatever." What are you actually even getting? Are these people qualified? Are you just, or is it, again, is this more of an ego idea? Oh, I've got a VA, so I can say I have a VA, but I'm not necessarily checking on the quality, not necessarily checking on what they're actually doing for me. I don't actually necessarily know what they're doing, but I'm paying them, whereas I could possibly find somebody that actually lives in my country, but I'd have to pay them more, right? God forbid I'd have to pay them more and they'd be living in my country and they possibly actually have evidence that they can do the job. Because in my thought, I'm just going to put that out there. If you're on Fiverr selling something dirt cheap, especially something with monetization in YouTube, I would think if you're that good, you should be putting all your energy into your own monetization. You're not going to go monetize other people. You're going to be too consumed on producing content for your own self. Now we're doing it, but we're also trying to help people to show them how to do our process. So it's not like we're coming in promising them that they're going to reach certain markers. We're coming in and going, we can help you get this process down to go this direction. So do what we're doing, and we're showing you as proof of example. These people aren't doing proof of example. They're literally just saying, well, I can do this. Great. Anybody might. Exactly. And in reality is most people can pretty much upload your video, put tags to it, go to AI, get a name. Like almost every single human can do that easily. So a VA and giving them $500 a month that doesn't live in your same country, that doesn't have the same motivation, thinking they're doing a good job running your YouTube account is such a weird illusion in my mind.
I just had a flashback. It's almost like the concept of, sponsor a child in Africa.
Exactly.
Just because I saw that recently on Caleb Hammer's channel, he did the financial audit. He's like, what is this money for? Oh, for starving children in Africa. Are you sure they exist? We'll have a photo. Why are you doing it? Oh, it's feel good for me as a Christian. And it's I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, it might make, okay, again, that's ego. It made your ego feel better, but did it actually move a marker? Are you actually helping anybody? Like, all I can think about is all the scams I've seen over the years of like giving money, and you find out that of that dollar you donate, if you're lucky, 2 cents, if you're lucky, gets to anybody that helps anything. And it doesn't even move a marker, right? And so you're like, the illusion of how our society has worked for a very long time is under the illusion of, well, you're giving, you're helping, you're doing this. But then when you actually look behind the curtain, you're like, what, like, is there anything of value behind it, right? So I find like we definitely live in this weird illusional reality where people will list, salespeople don't somehow need to prove themselves. Right? So they can uptalk you, they can shiny, they're that shiny turd, they can convince you anything. And then when you finally do ask a proof of evidence, which most people don't because they're too distracted by the shiny sales pitch. But if you do ask for proof of discovery, majority of them don't have it. If they do, then then it's not necessarily a shiny turd. Then they're talking the talk and they're walking the walk. And that is an oddity. That's not the norm.
You know what? This is gonna bring up. Guess which vendor was at this AI Profit Con in Austin?
Oh my God, which one? I don't know. There's so many.
Do you want another sweater? And it's like, I don't need any more Go High Level sweaters. And then they got like 8 people hanging. They just handing us sweaters. That is like. They go, well, why don't you want another sweater, sir? It's like, because your tech support sucks. And it's just like, because, you're talking to a salesperson. And they're like, what do you mean our tech support sucks? I'm like, your whole company, Go High Level, your onboarding is based on using people in third world countries. Well, yeah, because they're all Go High Level resellers, and I'm like, yeah, that is a problem, and this is why you guys got a bad name for yourselves. Is that you really don't have anybody internally at Go High Level doing tech support. It's all these agents that are white label, and their job is to resell Go High Level. So you're actually, it's like a multi-level marketing thing. But it's not I don't think it's multi-level marketing. But yes, we have somebody on our team specifically on our Don't Get Hacked team who deals with Go High Level. Not my favorite. I know there's it's just one of those things where I'm just like, as soon as he says to salespeople, I'm like, right into those Go High Level people again.
Yeah, okay. It's something. Let's go back. Whether you're a 10x fan,
have my hat. I don't have my hat here, but anyway, go ahead.
However, there is one thing I did learn. There was a side group that we had signed up to, and I was doing weekly meetings with. And one of the biggest things they drilled in, which is so true, which still makes me cringe, but it is true. Best known does not mean you are the best product. So this is the reality, is very rarely is the best known the best fucking product. Ooh, my language. Sorry, I apologize. I just, as I swear, Saturday
on my
morning.
YouTube channel and yours.
I've been bad. But it is true. It's like, okay, McDonald's, everybody knows it. Is it the best? No, people would debate it. I would say there's very few people that would say McDonald's is the best fast food. Is it the most well-known fast food? I would say probably worldwide, for sure, right? Everybody knows McDonald's. They might not know every other fast food chain, but everybody knows is. Yeah, so it's best known, not best product. And so then we have this interesting reality that we live in where subpar products out as well, especially paying to be beta testers. Like, it just so makes me cringe, because being high level, you're literally paying to be a beta tester for their product.
Well, yeah,
and then
because they roll out new features, and of course, since we're in the tech support field, people are like, why doesn't this work? And then I'm like, well, I used it, I've switched to something else because I wasn't happy with the tech support or the bolted on features, right? And then I'd be like, hey, phone up my friends. I'm like, hey, you use this. And then I'm like, how do we fix this for this one business just to move the needle and move them forward so they stop complaining and they can use the go high level product. And they'll fix it, but they're like, there's all these issues. I'm like, well, I know there's all these issues. It's like any product. Lots of pros, lots of cons. But when people have invested time, energy, and emotions into building a landing page or their CRM or whatever they're using it for, we're just like, hey, we can fix it for you. And why did you choose this product? Oh, well, some marketer, some website person told me.
And that's exactly it. It's always who's the most sales shiny, marketing selling, and then that's who sells you a product. And the amazing thing is how many students we talk to that have all these products they're paying for that they're not even using. That boggles my mind. You're spending, if you're lucky, only hundreds of dollars a year on products that you're not actually even using, to thousands of dollars a year on products, again, that you're a beta tester that don't work as promised or have glitches or have these issues. And I don't know, I'm personally tired of like being oversold on things and then being like super underwhelmed when I use it, right? And then I don't want to trust it. So even if it does update in a couple months to a year, do I trust that necessarily? No. Like the fact does matter. Like, why didn't you provide better quality? Now I get the reality because we've been in tech forever.
Really, it's because build it and sell it and then fix it as you go, and you're just like,
and that has been the norm. And we can even see that with like, okay, recently I was complaining about Microsoft. Like, Microsoft Office doesn't exist, right? Like, it really doesn't exist like it used to. There used to be, came on your computer, you had a Word, it was always there. Then it progressively got more and more difficult, came less and less. Then you have to buy the product. Now it's almost, even if you buy it, you can't have it on your desktop. It's all cloud managed.
No, there is.
God forbid, let me finish. God forbid you had a document that wasn't being read by the AI system online, because God forbid you had it saved somewhere else. Like, I'm constantly fighting with AI to even just produce me a text document that I can save on my desktop, that I don't have to go into Google Cloud. Maybe I'm the only person and a Luddite at a level, because I don't want everything in the cloud. I want it on my desktop. I want to edit it. I don't need it to be cloud managed, which means in the internet. That's all it means. That means anybody anywhere can literally, if they have the right key, can access it. So we have these weird things that have been normalized and we've been conditioned to. So conditioned to substandard products, constantly paying for upgrades. We saw that with Word over the years as well, because it would stop working because you didn't do an upgrade, right? Or whatever other software.
That's every single month with Office 365. So why is it not working? I'm like, pending updates. Why doesn't it update automatically? I'm like, because you haven't rebooted your computer in a month.
And so it's one of those things. But in fairness, when we were beta testing words and stuff, Word documents and those type of products, they actually worked fairly well. And often when you got updates, you didn't know about the reasons they were updating, because you the user rarely had issues on your end, but it would have
Before, let's see, 2016. Let me see. I've been using Microsoft Office since like 2000s. You didn't have to
1999.
you didn't have to update it. You didn't have to update it. It was like literally you bought it, bought a license, you paid several $100s, you bought a license. Even actually 2010, it came free for like everybody in 2010, right? The good versions, I think that's when the good versions actually stopped, is 2010. And now we're 2026, so that's like almost 2 decades. Like we're like a full
16 years later. 16 years later, and I cringe because I just want a Word document like there was back in the early 2000s. Like, that is how awful it is that I think like there's a lot.
That's the last version you liked, was 2003 on the Mac.
That's 13 years ago, right? No, 23 years ago. Oh my God.
Like, where's yours?
Math on Saturday doesn't work for me.
I'm like, no. I'm just like, remember, you've been a Mac user for a while, and the last version of Word you actually liked was really, really, really old. So, and I can't make it work anymore. And
no, so now everything's subpar. I dislike all these cloud manages. I don't want to pay for a subscription for something that doesn't even live on my computer, and that legitimately, like, you know what? I feel like we should all expect more, but we've been conditioned to accept less fancy shined up turds and be beta testers, because the reality is, even when we were kind of beta testers for these products, they worked better. They actually had to test them before. There was a time they did rigorous testing before it was released on the population. Now literally anybody does these base 44 or any of these AI based programs, they release them on the public and they don't work. They don't work. And then you've been paying for something that doesn't work.
Well, but does anything actually work? Is anything actually a finished product ever?
I don't think so. Not anymore. And it's kind of insane. But
and you know what? But there'll be other things in industry where it's a finished product and nobody buys it, and then they discontinue it.
Well, because they're not best known. They don't have the McDonald's budget. So I think this is really what I actually think is happening, which I believe should make us all think a lot deeper on how we purchase things. They cut the funding on making a product that would work well to put a larger budget to sell you the product that's subpar. Because what's more important than having a good product is getting people to buy your product is more important than building a good product. That is actually the reality we live in. So they can sell us a subpar product that kind of works under this illusion that they're promising this big fancy thing, but half the features don't work, or they're subpar and they're going to be annoying, because all the budget is to sell you the product, because that is more important than giving you a good product. Whereas a company that spends that extra time building a quality product that no longer has that budget. And then, the reality is, when you have a good experience, you rarely share it, but you have a bad experience, you will tell every person. Right? So even with the big budget, they can keep selling it, because even your bad experience often will not subdue how well their illusionary commercial selling is. And I think humans, we're too dumb. We are dumb. We have to stop falling for these shiny turd things. Like, we have to actually look what's behind it. Does this product work? Go and search who's used this product. Reach out. There's got to be somebody. Tell me truthfully, does this actually work? Have you had this experience? Don't give them money. Like, try it out yourself and actually test it in the testing days you have. And if it doesn't work as planned, don't make sure you're not getting charged for it. Like, we have to take back our power. We literally give our power away to these corporations that steal our money. So there's another side note on that. But let's round it up. because we're in the second half of our show. So this is our Ask Us Anything, where you can drop your questions about visibility, technology, that type of stuff, and ask us a question. Drop it in the comments. Any last on that before I go through the first comment?
No, we lost our viewers anyway once he went off on words. So.
Oh, no, the viewers are still there. No, we've literally been jumping between the same number the entire time.
We had 18, and then he went into a rant about words. So, no, I was like, it was the reviews. Just to all business owners want reviews, good reviews, but it's such a hard thing because I was talking to people this week. They're like, "Is it hard for you to get reviews?" I'm like, "Well, I'm like, do you want me to really get into this with you? Because people will complain about having to have a Gmail account to leave a Google review, and then you're like, well, you can go leave a review on this platform, and like it's just so. But negative stuff always seems to get a review.
Well,
But
they're more motivated to go and set up that Gmail account to complain about that business.
Well, and then so the person I was offering to help this week with his clients is like, oh, I'm on Google and I'm on trust this, and then the like 5 or 6. He's like, oh, I just make sure people leave me a review on whatever. I was like, okay, you've gone to that extent where, because he was literally asking people. It's like, you haven't left me a review yet. You have. I was like, well, you're on top of getting these reviews because people he knows, because he's obviously talking to them because he's recently dealt with them, and he's like, I haven't seen your review yet. Where's your review? I was like, wow, it's crazy. It's good.
But that is the whole thing, is that you have to follow up with them multiple times to get a review. You literally have to stalk somebody to get a review. That is a lot of work to get a review. But if you made them bad, they would review it without you having to stalk them.
Then people were like, oh no, I left you a review. He's like, which platform? And he's like pulling up his phone. I'm like, I haven't seen your review yet. Are you sure you left it on Yelp? And it was like Yelp, and I was like, oh. They're like, okay. I was like, well, this is I understand it, but no, I was just.
Well, it's an interesting psychology of humans. If you aren't happy, you will complain and you will be motivated to waste the time to complain. But if you've had a good experience, you will be lazy AF to share that with anybody else. Because God forbid you had a good experience and might help other people have a good experience. It's like you have to be bribed or threatened to go share a good experience. And so it's like, no wonder if we don't like what we're seeing in reality. One of the things I remember years ago, especially with media and going to the news, and it's always very negative focused. And there's a reason, because that buys views. If they highlighted good things that happened, people don't watch it. So we are our own worst enemy. So if we don't like what we're seeing, we've already trained the system to respond negatively to us, because that is really the only incentive. Is like, really, what with famous people, it's very known that there's no bad publicity as long as you're in the eyes of people hearing
You want to be
about you.
remembered. You want to be
Whether
remembered.
it's good and exactly, it may not even be for something great, but you're being talked about. And that is more important than, you could do all this humanitarian services. Nobody cares. No one's going to talk about it.
Why do you think they're doing the humanitarian services? As long as there's a picture or a video of them somewheres, it's going to hit the tabloids or that.
Well, even more so if there's controversy, right? Because that's when it gets super popular. Because most people with humanitarian, if they post something about humanitarian, it might be like, oh, that's nice, but the people skip it. But if it was like humanitarian with a scandal, oh, everybody's spending more time reading it, right? So we have been very conditioned to choose the more negative, lower vibrational area. So then it's like, when we're talking about this and being visible, we want to change that. We want to change it that, yeah, there's a lot of low vibrational things we need to know about, because we can't choose better if we don't know about it. However, we want to start changing the way we see things. Like, how do you fall for an ad? Why are you falling for the ad? Why did they convince you? How did that convince you to buy that product? Yet your own experience might not have matched that commercial. Because I still, to this day, don't understand why people buy the Crest whitening strips. I still don't. And these commercials boggle my mind to this day, because if you've ever used it, they're horrible on your teeth. You end up having to use like Sensodyne or whatever because it literally pulls off that first layer of enamel. And there was a number of years ago a commercial where it actually acknowledged it. And I remember thinking, wow, this is refreshing. They're acknowledging these whitening strips causing tooth sensitivity. So they acknowledged it in the commercial, but never actually said how this version was different than any other version of their whitening strips. So it was quite amazing how manipulative the sales process is, because they acknowledge something, but if you're listening to the entire commercial, they don't actually give you a solution. They literally make you do an assumptive closing that somehow these have changed because they acknowledged it in the commercial, even though they never actually said how it changed. And nothing changed, and they probably got a bunch of people buying them again going, oh my god, they're still the same, right? So it's this interesting thing. And then when you meet real people who don't shine up the turd, right, that want to authentically help you, well, there's no, it's it's not vanity measures, it's not vanity metrics, it's not ego based, it's not panic based. It's harder to sell. And that's something we realize. And it's very hard when you're not that type of seller. I don't want to scam you. I don't want to take your money and have you not benefit from what you're doing. I want you to actually go forward. That's a different purpose than 90% of the build businesses that exist there that aren't there to really help you. They want you to invest, but they're like like that doesn't mean there's a product behind it or a service that actually has a value behind it that is really strong with integrity or any of that. But those seem to win. And it's because we allow them to. That's why, you fall for that scam when they're like, oh, we can help you with your YouTube without asking a question. Where's your YouTube channel? Where's your proof of evidence? That has actually been one of my major complaints about business coaches. I almost never
Really
met a
just
business
business
coach.
coaches? Really just business coaches? Are we
Well, no,
going
that's one of them. No, but coaches, like business coaches specifically, almost none of them have ever had a successful business. Like they've never owned or done a successful business. If they did, they wouldn't be a business coach.
because they're reading out of a binder? Because they bought a course. It's like, hey, you convince anybody by just going like looking at the profit and loss and going through increased sales, increased prices, increased
Give them
customer,
the
increased
worksheet.
conversions.
Yeah, give them the worksheets from the franchise that you bought into. And now you can put that branding, and then you're giving worksheets to the business, but you've never ran a successful business, but you're going to coach people, but you've never ran a successful business. So I find that always bothered me. And that was when we got into being self-employed. We've been in self-employed for 23 years, really, that we've had essentially been making our own money without working for somebody. And the amount of business coaches I have met, like, you can't convince me to invest in a business coach, because they are seriously all exactly the same, and they've never ran a successful business. That is not somebody you should be learning from. If they haven't done it, why are you giving them money to make you successful when they haven't been successful in that area? And that's, again, like all these people that promise you can get 12 million views. We talked about that. That was a commercial I was recently seeing, which, what did we learn about 12 million views? Now, going into February, that's not even going to cut it on the shorts. If you want to get to the monetization on shorts, you got to get 20 million views.
Yeah, but they can state that because they know they just have to run ad dollars and drive traffic there. It does not mean that's subs. That does not mean like eligible watch time. That is just eyeballs. It's the same for any type of advertising for any other type of product. You apply paid traffic to some platform, to some website, you're going to get views. Yep. There's going to be views. Is there conversion? Is there intent? Is there positive activity that happens?
Well,
Maybe.
let's go back
It
here.
depends on your messaging.
Are they qualified views? Are they? Because this is interesting because it's like, is YouTube updating these views to maybe kind of cut out these people that are saying, oh, we can
True.
get you the 12 million views, when you can be like, well, look, you technically got 12 million views, but only qualified for like 5 million of them, right? And because they're not promising you qualified
Okay.
views.
Now, this visual now is making sense to me because the ad campaigns. That is what they're okay. So that's what they're really cutting out. Is they're not going to give you if you're running ads to your channel and that's spiking your view, spiking your sub, or spiking your watch. That may okay. I'm just like
That does look like they're cutting that
just
out.
because there's been so much updates, and of course, you watch people like I've been watching whatever vidIQ, whoever's been publishing stuff, it's their own interpretation, and you're just like, well, just because we're in the YouTube world and we know all the tips and all the tricks people are using in order to get people to their channel, and it's like, okay, now this is fully, maybe I'm fully digesting it now about what the changes are.
Well, it does make more sense, right? Because again, like and it's not going to be paid ads. Like those aren't even going to count for qualified watch time. Ads don't count. Private things don't count. None of that's going to count. And so I find that interesting how YouTube's kind of going behind to give you the ego metrics. So if you've been waiting for those ego metrics, Monday you might feel really good if you're posting something, right? And you're like, oh wow, let's say you usually get 1,000 views. Suddenly you're like, oh wow, I got 4,000 views. Only 1,000 technically qualify, right? As in a legit view. But you're gonna feel like, woo, I worked so hard. Good pat on the back, right? But it is interesting because I think that is part of that, is like the one guy who was always like, we can get you your 1,000,000 views, or this other lady who was offering 12 million views. Okay, but views they didn't push the marker unless they were qualified to begin with. And now it's even less important if we're already going to get those vanity metrics from YouTube. So it's going to be interesting to see how this does roll out.
Maybe they're just pitching those numbers because they're like, oh well, you'll if your stuff's good, maybe you'll get a subscriber or two or three or 12 million.
If you spend enough money, well, that was one of my things is, you know what, you can spend endless amounts of money, and that's how a lot of people get found. And I truly believe that there's another way you can get found without having to spend your life savings on advertisements to get found. And yes, there might be times where it is beneficial to spend money to get found. But in our experience, we have ran ads over years. And problem being in tech, you've actually got banned off of platforms for running ads because technology has been a really
What?
weird gray area.
Google My Business still doesn't like me and will still delist me regardless. And you're just like, all right, okay. I'm just
So when you
gonna.
can't run
What we're
ads,
gonna do is we're just gonna live stream to multiple platforms multiple times per week and build the visibility by showing up multiple times per week live streaming. So that way, when I'm searched, there's content to be found every single week.
and that's also to be found by new viewers. So when we're live streaming, depending on if you're watching on YouTube, we are live streaming in vertical and horizontal. And in vertical, this is actually how you find more potential viewers, because people will be scrolling through the shorts, and that's how you find your new potential. If you're only streaming in one form, like, okay, your landscape is more for the people that already follow you, are already subscribed, like your content. They're going to stay on the landscape, the bigger picture, longer. That's going to be, once you're monetized, you'll probably make more money off of those. But when you're vertical, that's really how you get seen. So we're really teaching you how to show up both ways so you can have the benefit of, exactly, two ways, benefit of being seen through the vertical short stream, but also then having the ability for people who are already subscribed to view and and stay there, giving you more watch time. So you want to take advantage of both. And the first question, because we're coming down to the last 10 minutes, but I wanted to bring a question. I know Sabrina did leave, so I'm hoping she'll come back after, but she was asking about still trying to understand how to go live. Now, depending on where you're at, if you don't have, I believe it's 50 viewers, you can then live stream vertical and horizontally. Is that correct?
You need to go to your YouTube account on the desktop, so browser, and then request it to be enabled. And wait 24 to 48 hours. You'll have to turn on two-factor authentication, all that jazz, and you can go live from let's say you've got Chrome on a Windows PC or a Mac. You can go live.
Okay,
You request it.
I was trying to break it down first. So normally, okay, like let's break it down. Normally what people understand is that you have to have 50 viewers to live stream, right? That is the normal metric.
From mobile. From mobile. You can do it from with any amount from the browser.
Yes, okay, let's step it back. I'm attempting to build the picture for the viewers, Mike. So most people believe they can't live stream without 50 subs. That is my point. But that's not necessarily true. That's what I'm attempting to point out. So if you have 50 subs, you can then live stream horizontally and vertically. However, if you don't have 50 subs, you can still live stream through some of the workarounds that we have determined. So if you have to apply on the back end for live stream access, and without having 50 subs, you can live stream landscape horizontally just from your desktop. Now, there's another layer where you can even do it vertically as well without 50 subs by using software like we're teaching with Restream. Correct, Mike?
Yes.
So that's all I'm building the thing. So you've got multiple levels. There's no excuse that you can't live stream. That's my point. So your live stream starts with whether you have one viewer or more, you can live stream based on if you just want to do it on your desktop. If you want to live stream both ways, then you get a software that then can push it vertical and horizontal. And then once you're over 50, you can do it individually or not. What we do is help you get that set up so you can streamline it, that you're not only doing vertical and horizontal, you're also streaming to multiple different social media networks, because YouTube is just the base of where you start. At on any platform, you can lose access for any reason. So you don't want all your content just behind one platform. So what we teach is not only how to use YouTube to stream and get your content out there, also how to get it to show up without having to do a bunch of extra videos, postings to show up in other places.
Correct. And
Is there
using
anything?
no, I think you covered that, because you can literally live stream to any platform, and it's not just the ones that you're thinking about. There's also Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Rumble. Like, there's all these places you can build audiences, but you have to start and get started with it and
Exactly. And if you are having problems, that's what joining us, getting set up, becoming a Visibility Engine member gives you access to us directly, where we can help you go through that process if you're struggling to get and make sure you've applied to do your live stream or whatever part of that process, whether it is setting up Restream or a platform to feed it to, whatever that is. We've used all of that. We've done it all. That's what we really help you do, is help you get all those systems in place so you can go forward and start to get your message out, start live streaming, start putting out your little, lighthouse. That's the word I was going to say, the lighthouse of what you are here and offering. So before we let you go, if today's episode made you realize you don't actually know what your channel's real numbers are telling you, or how to go live, or how to get this into a process to help you get to that 4,000 hours, especially if you're already creating content, that's exactly the gap our Visibility Engine closes.
This is our full coaching program for creators who are done guessing, where we sit down with your channel, your numbers, and build an actual visibility strategy instead of chasing whatever the algorithm did this week.
And as we know, as a side note, algorithms change, and YouTube is using multiple different algorithms, and for different, whether it's a short or it's a long, or whether it's landscape versus vertical, there's so many different algorithms. You're kind of, I feel like you're fighting a battle with the algorithms at any moment that can change, right? So we want to look beyond that. So our next round kicks off in September. Seats don't stay open forever. So if you've been on the fence and you're creating content, but you really want to get to that monetization level, or at least get that boost to give yourself the best potential to get to monetization before the everything doubles to, you need 8,000 hours or 20 million views, now's the moment to do it.
Yes, it is. You can head to IamYouTubeFamous.com to see what's included and grab your spot for September before it fills up.
IamYouTubeFamous.com. You can see that here on the screen. Depending on which view you're looking at. I believe it's under me. So IamYouTubeFamous.com.
Or above you.
That gets, go check it out. Go check it out. You register there. You can also join our gold membership where you get the email, and we email you every week with everything we're going on. This is the place to go to. Any other thoughts or comments on that, Mike?
No, I just want people to understand that it's, we want you to be visible, right? So, business owner, nonprofit, author, you're promoting something, or you're just like, it's super, like, it's not really, you just got to get started, figure out what you're going to be talking about. And this is IamYouTubeFamous.com. Get signed up, and we step you through the whole single process, right? I know business owners, people make things more challenging than they need to be, and that's why you need a coach to say, hey, this is what we do week 1, this is what we do week 2. And it's just because trying to attack all social medias at the same time, you're going to burn yourself out, and it can be super complicated. The system that we designed, the visibility framework using streaming software that we're using, is super simple and straightforward. It's just a matter of putting in the reps every single week and saying, hey, this worked well. I got more viewers. This is where the chat is. And it's just like, I really like our system.
Practice makes perfect. That is the point. We want you to practice. That's how you get better at doing anything. And the reality is, the more you show up, the more you keep doing, the better you'll get at presenting, the more confident you'll get, and the more you'll be able to fine-tune whatever message or whatever you're essentially sharing with the world. And there was another thought that this came up, and then I lost it. One of those thoughts, those Saturday morning thoughts, that was a really good thought, and then I lost my thought that I'm sure will come back in like 2 moments. What was it? It was about the visibility, about man, I forgot it. Whatever. As before, while I try to remember it, thank you everybody for joining. We had a Jim H. He is a body warrior. Good to know. Thank you for joining us.
Maybe that's his channel. Or no, not body. You read that wrong.
Oh, booty warrior. Sorry. I can't read or do math first thing on a Saturday morning, so don't judge me, okay? Don't judge. And I guess Ronaldo is the greatest of all time, the GOAT. And so there we go. And so we come here to have this discussion to help you be seen. Because the reality is, if you don't have that message, you're not fine-tuning it, you're not getting it out there, no one's ever going to see you. And that is what we want. We want you to start. Because if you think about it, if you started 6 months ago, where would you be now? And that was my point with, when you start to think about how much is involved, the process can be so overwhelming. And if you're running a business, it can definitely be like, I don't have time to learn a whole nother thing, right?
What do we hear all the time? What do we hear all the time, Julie? I'll wait till September.
Exactly. So you're waiting for some
January.
magical time, but if you're busy, there's no magical time. So when you join us with the visibility engine at IamYouTubeFamous.com, we will help you. So each week help you grow and take that next step. So you don't have to be overwhelmed that you've got this massive list. We start breaking it down to make it more digestible and to help you find your own process. Like I have been tracking my own process of how I prep a show from the beginning to after it's aired. And I'm making a process that works for me. So I can then offer that to people. People want to duplicate a similar process. This is how you can go through it. Now, of course, am I going to give you the whole thing right up front and puke out this information? No, because that can be overwhelming and immediately can turn people off because they're like, holy crap, too many things. But if you start with one step and then add the next week another level, add another level, you start to build it and it's less overwhelming. That was my point.
No, that is because, that's visibility is overwhelming. And this is why when we meet anybody, we're like, hey, let's just do a quick Google search. Let's see what the social medias, the internet platforms, let's see what they're reporting about you. Because once we know where you sit, we can then turn the visibility engine on and then check in 3, 6, 9 months to see, oh, hey, YouTube's reported you, LinkedIn's are like, we can track the progress is what I'm saying. We know where you start, and as we build it, we can track the progress and what content's really working well for you.
And we also want to teach you that it's not just views. Views are vanity ego numbers. That's the point of today's show, was really views are the ego vanity numbers. Things we're going to be looking for, especially when you're doing this and showing up consistently, is that you start to show up. You Google your business, you show up. It's your YouTube, it's your website, it's your LinkedIn, it's your whatever platforms you're putting on. You start to show up as the first option with your business when you become visible, because Google and YouTube are buddy. They feed each other. So when you start to show up on YouTube, it feeds back into that algorithm. So it can be more than just the views being vanity and they're not qualified view time. Well, that's not really, it doesn't mean anything. If they didn't watch any of your content, that's not really a valid view, right? Like you didn't benefit from them viewing it. They didn't benefit.
Unless you're selling something and they clicked on your link right away and went and bought something. But
without even watching anything, really,
that
right?
usually means normally you get those clicks on your link once the know, like, and trust is established.
Exactly. So we just want to help you get established, build it authentically, and bring in that different energy. So again, I've talked about, like, we want a better level. We have to be the ones doing it. So you have to step up. Every single one of us has to step up if you want a better outcome. We have to step up. We have to be the leaders as things start to change. So join us, become visible, go to IamYouTubeFamous.com and sign up for our newsletter and sign up to join us in September. We're going to be taking a new group through the process and meeting with them and helping coach them to be successful. And especially whatever their goals are. If they want to get monetized, we're going to help them really amp up what they need to do, because we're running out of time. Every day you're waiting to become visible is going to push that marker of making it double as difficult to get to that monetization goal. It's not going to be impossible. It's just going to be more difficult.
And please subscribe.
Exactly.
You can be notified when we go live 4 times a week.
As you can see, this is our schedule. We go live, as Mike mentioned, 4 times. Obviously, every Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern. This is our Visibility University. You come ask us anything. We usually have something we talk about, and then you can drop your questions, concerns, ask us anything about visibility.
Sundays, 7-11 p.m. Eastern for the weekly energy forecast. Mondays, of course, 2 real, 2 truths, 1 lie, 7 p.m. Eastern. And Thursdays for Honestly Though at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And all of them, they might seem like separate shows, but they're all really talking about the same thing. It's about visibility, using timing, and then also learning what's happening in our life so we can actually ask questions and discern better. So make sure you do join us. Subscribe on your way out so you'll be notified when we do go live. And we look forward to seeing you in September for our next class or next, I guess, group that we're taking through our visibility engine.
All right, it's time to go. Bye.
Have a great Saturday. We'll see you next week. And join us tomorrow to find out what the energy is, because we're going into our second eclipse. So if you're interested, make sure you're subscribed and you'll be notified tomorrow when we're live.
Bye.